Hi there, this is Philip from Beyond the Tabletop, and in this video I'm showing you how to fully magnetise a Forgeworld resin Contemptor. Now this video was filmed a long time ago, but I still wanted to put it out there even though the kits have now been discontinued and replaced with the Horus Heresy plastic version. This video was originally also going to be done in two parts. The first using a pre-built model, just showing you what I've done and talking about the process. That's this video. The other was much more in-depth step-by-step build video showing you the whole process from start to finish using a second Contemptor that I have. However, that one just didn't seem to be as useful anymore, so while I filmed it, it's just more effort than it's worth editing it all together, but I do occasionally reference it in this video. And while there's probably not many people with unbuilt resin Contemptors lying around, this will still be a really helpful video for anyone wanting to learn how to magnetise their kits, what you can do with magnets, and also give you ideas for magnetising the plastic Contemptor kit, although I do believe some of the magnetisation points will differ. With that all said and done, let's get on with the video. In the first section of the video, I'm doing a showcase on this Contemptor Dreadnought that I've fully magnetised up, just showing off all the different magnetised options and talking about the magnet sizes. Now I've magnetised all the different weapon options to give myself the tactical flexibility of playing this Dreadnought that I'll be using for my Minotaur's army, either as a stand back and shoot Contemptor Mortis Dreadnought or a more aggressive Relic Dreadnought with more close combat orientated weapons. For the missile launcher at the top, if I just lift it up, you can see where I've added in those two magnets. So these magnets are 2mm by 1mm, and for the top one I've just used one magnet, but for the one inside the Dreadnought I've used two magnets. I've also made sure I added in that magnet slightly recessed from the hole and added in a bit of super glue on top that I've then sanded down, so once that's painted you'll have a nice smooth finish. So when I'm not running the missile launchers, you don't have an ugly magnet being visible. So hopefully this guy will look really good with or without the missiles. And to go alongside those missiles, I've even magnetised the head so I can run the missile launcher head variant. Now you don't really need to do this, but I just wanted to see if it was possible, which it is. So this is the default head that comes with the Contemptor kit. I'll need to use a tiny bit of blue tack just to help lift him off. And you can see here that I've again used 2mm by 1mm magnets. And here's the head that comes with that missile launcher kit. So there we go. And by him being magnetised in, you can also sort of rotate him around if you wanted, just to give you some extra posability options. Now let's move on to the Keris pattern assault cannon. Now you might notice that this one here looks a bit shorter. That's because I've just modified it to be a bit more unique. Because I run my Minotaurs as White Scars, I wanted something a bit more assault and close combat themed. So I decided to shorten the length of the barrels, and then the supporting bracket that normally comes out on underneath, I've just trimmed down and added into this little bracket here, which is what the whole thing normally gets mounted in. And then I can just pop this off and we can have a look at the magnets. So here I've just added in a 5mm by 1mm magnet in that arm socket. And then in this arm underneath I've used the same 5mm magnets, but this time I've added in two just for a bit more strength on those arms. So that's all you need for those, and then he will just snap back in like so. And you can pose him around. So you can see the asymmetrical design on these sort of arm mountings for the guns. That's because you're meant to glue them in either the left or right hand side. So I've designed mine predominantly for the right hand side. However, you could swap it out to the left hand side, and that kind of design, you can notice it a little bit, but I think when you're playing the game, no one would really notice except for yourself. So you do get the versatility there of if you want to swap the arms around, you can do. So if we now look at the assault claw, this can come off. We've again got a 5mm magnet just here. Now this is a left-handed close combat assault claw, and what I've done is I've magnetised this top section here. So this allows for the internal gun to come out, so I can swap that over, but what it also does is it allows me to flip this around to the right hand side so it can now become a right-handed close combat assault claw. And as you see on the mounting, that this is symmetrical. So unlike the gun one that is asymmetrical, this is universal and would work in the left or right hand position. If we just take the plasma gun out, what I've done here is a 3mm magnet inside. I believe that was 2 magnets deep, so it has a bit more strength. And then on this one, I've done a 3mm magnet. Now there's 2 things on this one that I didn't actually have to do. So firstly, I've used a 3mm magnet, when in fact you'd be better off using a 2mm magnet, and reasons why I'll talk about shortly. And then the other one is I trimmed this circular base down to be slightly smaller. And my original plan was that I would just drop it in through this hole. However, it's actually far too fiddly, especially once those claws are in, to be able to do that. So that's why I then opted for magnetising this section here. So let's swap this out for a different weapon. So I've got the grav gun here, and here you can see I've used a 2mm magnet. That's really needed because actually you want to go down into this base section here, and a 3mm magnet is going to risk the stability of that sort of bottom structure. You can also see between the two the size difference, so it's a bit of a pain trying to trim this one down. So you don't really need to do that anymore, you just need to add in a 2mm magnet, even though I've magnetised these 2 bits here. So that will just drop in and that's nice and secure. You could probably get away with not actually having to magnetise that because it's all being held in place via the claw top section. However, you might find that that just doesn't line up very centrally because it's not lying flush with the bottom, and it might just be sort of sagging down ever so slightly. So that's something to bear in mind. And then the very last section is the power/ammo module, which gets added on to the bottom. That also helps to note what kind of weapon is in that fist. So we can take this off, and as you can see, I've used a single 2mm magnet on each one. So I can swap that out because that's the one for the melter gun, and then bring the grav gun one in, and that just fits in place there. So now we've swapped out that claw to the grav gun, both there and on the bit underneath. You can just add it back into the Contemptor, and now we've got a different loadout. So one benefit of magnetising the claw in this way is we can actually just swap this off if we want, and drop in a Chainfist. So now we've got the Chainfist added in. Now this is just a bit of a nice touch because obviously you're still going to have a Chainfist arm, so you could just have an arm as a separate component, and I'm obviously going to paint all of mine up, so because I've got 2 dreadnoughts, so I might want to, for example, run 2 dual Chainfists. So again, with that Chainfist, it's currently designed for the left hand arm, but you could just swap this over so it's now on the right hand side. Obviously the chainsword is upside down, but this has also been magnetised with also 2 2mm magnets, 1 in each section, so you could just swap that over and now the arm is the right way up. So with this little system you get a myriad of different options for all of your guns and close combat weapons. It allows me to run it without the missile launcher. I can swap the close combat weapons to the other side. This, even though it is designed for the right hand side, works perfectly well on the left hand side, and I can swap out those internal weapons to be whichever I want. So I've got the maximum flexibility when it comes to running the Contemptor in game. So to start off with, we've got the missile launcher that we can add on, and we've already got the corresponding head that goes with it. And then we've got the twin las cannons on both arms, which will make it a mortis Contemptor. If we wanted to go for a different loadout, you could obviously take the missiles off, and then for the sake of it, let's take the head off as well. And then we could just pop in a regular head. You could take both arms off. We could add in the melter gun, and we could add in the assault claw, And let's not forget that power pack option. So here we've got the assault claw with the plasma pistol upgrade, and the melter gun. So this should make it a standard Contemptor. However, the standard Contemptor requires the storm bolter within the fist, which is something I don't sadly have yet. I've ordered the regular fist from Forgeworld, which will then give me that weapon option, because that's the only way to get the flamer or the storm bolter variant. And another possible variant with the relic Contemptor is to give it twin fists. So we can take this one out. I can actually drop in the fist that I've done from my other Contemptor, and I can just pivot this around. So here we've got it with dual fists, and then we can either take these whole arms off or just take these pieces off. And here we've got a twin Chainfist Contemptor. So there's tons of different variables that you can build. Effectively, you've got infinite possibilities with how you want to build these Contemptors. So with this magnetization system, you're basically just limited to the kits that you want to buy for your Contemptor. So here we have the two finished Contemptors, both in very different dynamic poses, and all the different weapon options are now fully magnetized. I hope you've enjoyed this video. That's all for now. Until the next time, take care. If you want to support the channel, you can back me over on Patreon or use my Element Games affiliate link. You can find those down in the description below. You can also check out my online store, beyondthetabletop.com/shop, where I sell resin conversion kits for both infantry and vehicles. Thanks again for watching this video. Feel free to hit all the usual YouTube buttons to like and subscribe, or follow my other social media platforms for regular updates with what I'm working on. That's all for now. Until the next time, take care.